Taliban forces entered the heart of the Afghan capital, Kabul, today, the culmination of a rapid advance and retaking of control almost exactly 2 decades after they were ousted from power. Fighters were filmed inside the presidential palace after Ashraf Ghani, now the former president, fled the country. Afghans and foreign nationals have been trying to get on planes at Kabul airport, where international troops have been involved in evacuations, but security there is reported to be fragile. The latest developments came after the Taliban moved through one Afghan province after another in recent days and headed towards the capital. Our first report is from our diplomatic correspondent, Paul Adams.
Afghanistan has new masters. 20 years after their first experiment in power came to a shattering end, the Taliban are back, hours after arriving in Kabul, sitting at the president's desk. Earlier, at the same desk, President Ashraf Ghani clinging to the last fragments of power. But the man gazing down on Kabul's streets has gone, fleeing to neighboring Uzbekistan. In a Facebook post, he said he'd left to avoid bloodshed. As the Taliban moves in, the West moves out. American helicopters busy over Kabul all day today, ferrying diplomats from the US Embassy to the airport. This disorderly end was not the plan. Hundreds of British troops have now arrived in Kabul to help with the evacuation of thousands of British and Afghan civilians.
You should be wearing a mask at all times because we don't know where they're all coming from.
The operation is well underway. These troops may not be on the ground for long. Kabul is in chaos. People desperate to leave, taking what they can, fearing a bloody assault. There's little violence so far, but a lot of panic. Crowds descended on banks trying to take out their savings. As police officers and security officials abandoned their positions, the Taliban urged people to stay calm.
We want to avoid bloodshed and to destruction of properties of the people, and to not give chance to plunderers, looters who are waiting for such moments to loot or plunder the properties of the people.
But the streets are full of dread. Tens of thousands of civilians displaced by fighting elsewhere, living out in the open, telling stories of abuses at the hands of the Taliban.
The Taliban came into our village in the night. After a few days, we managed to escape as they were murdering the men and boys. They accused them of being in the army or the police. They were taken out of their homes and murdered because they worked for the government.
Outside the capital, the Taliban are consolidating their grip on Afghanistan's major cities, like Herat, unfazed by their headlong success, which has government ministers reeling.
The saddest part is that I didn't expect this, but now I might face consequences that I never even dreamed of. And I guess that's the price that we pay for trying to make this world a little better.
At the border with Pakistan, Afghans are leaving. With or without fighting, the Taliban's takeover looks set to trigger yet another wave of refugees. Tonight at Kabul airport, military and civilian planes offer the only way out. At the gates, chaotic scenes. Who will leave and who will be left behind? Is this how the West's 20-year adventure in Afghanistan will be remembered? Paul Adams, BBC News.